Cardano DeFi has been absolutely popping off recently, and a lot of the different decentralized applications on this chain have been going on massive runs in the middle of a thick bear crypto market. So in this video, guys, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about Cardano DeFi and how to get started. Without further ado, let's get into it. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you'll know that I've been anticipating this Cardano DeFi TVL boom for the longest time now, ever since I started this channel and really launched my own NFT project on this chain. And we're finally starting to see this happen. And even though a lot of these different DeFi protocols, as you can see here, guys, have been going on massive runs over the past 30 days, over the past 60 days, over the past 90 days, I do still believe that we're very early, and hopefully I can help you guys get started if you're pretty new to this chain and if you're new to this channel. So you may be asking yourself right now, why is the DeFi on Cardano booming? Why is there so much more TVL? Why is there so much more money flow? Why are these different dApps finally going on a price appreciation run? And the best thing that I can tell you guys is if you go on DeFi Llama, you're able to see all of this TVL or money flow for every single blockchain. And for the longest time, and I've been saying this ever since I started my channel and project, Cardano has had a very huge outlier when it comes to the TVL to market cap ratio. Cardano, even though one of the top blockchains and one of the highest market caps out of any cryptocurrency, had one of the lowest amounts of TVL compared to market cap out of any chain out there. It wasn't even in the top 30 at the start of this year, and even now it's only the 16th place, sitting at a 60.83 ratio when it comes to that TVL to market cap. And you can see a lot of these other chains out here, guys, are usually between 1 and 10, such as Ethereum at 8.69, you have Arbitrum around 0.66, you have BSC at 11, you have Polygon at 7, as you can see AVAX 6.67, and one of the big things I've been saying is Cardano's TVL is way off. And one of the aspects of why it's been going up recently is all the way back in 2021 of September, they had the Alonzo hard fork, which allowed for smart contract development on the Cardano blockchain. And myself and other people thought a lot of these different dApps and decentralized exchanges would come out very soon after that, but it turned out that actually developing on Cardano was something very difficult because the programming language of Plutus is based on Haskell, which is a very difficult language to code in. So a lot of these different dApps have been taking a long time to actually come out, and now we're finally starting to see them come out, not only with their V1s, but their V2s and their V3s. And now people are really starting to pay attention to the chain, and it's just kind of been snowballing as people have been chasing these different gains. But even when you look at the TVL, guys, and tracking ADA is better than US dollars, you'll see that by the start of this year, we were only sitting at around 200 million ADA TVL, and within this time period, so we're talking about 6-7 months, that has tripled to 600 million, whereas most of the other chains have either remained the same or gone down as people started to take that money and get back into dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. So to kind of summarize what I said there, because I know that was a lot of information that I just puked up here, Cardano came out with their smart contracts. There was nothing developed on Cardano. It was kind of just like a decentralized meme coin. And then projects were finally able to build on it. It took forever for these projects to finally build on it, but now they're finally starting to come out. And as they're coming out, the TVL, or the amount of money flowing into these different decentralized exchanges and applications, have gone up. And because of that, the prices of a lot of the cryptos have gone up. And because of that, it has attracted more people from outside of the ecosystem to come in and take the opportunity, because it wasn't worth developing on Cardano for the longest time, or really getting into these different protocols in their early infancy stages. So now that these applications are out, now that money is starting to flow in, we're starting to see this boom finally take place in Cardano, which has never happened. And that's why I think this is happening with Cardano in its own entire way off portion of the whole entire crypto market, whereas many things have been going down or on the decline in other places. So this was just a long overdue boom, and it has finally started to tick off and shoot off. Now that you guys know why Cardano has been blowing up, how the hell do you get involved? Well, first things first, guys, you're going to need a wallet in order to actually transact on this chain. Now, Cardano has way more wallets than it needs. I don't know why there's so many wallets, but the most simple one, if you're getting started, is Nami. It's very simple, guys. It's got a send, it's got a receive, it's got an assets page, it's got a transactions page. It's very easy. If you've messed around on other blockchains, you should be be able to figure this out. Now, if you are someone that likes to do things mobile, I'd highly recommend Vesper. Not only is it super fast, but it's also a very nice wallet if you're trying to do transactions on your phone. As far as actually keeping track of all of these different coins and all of the different market caps and holders and all these things, you're going to want to go on TapTools. Now, TapTools is absolutely goated. You can sort by trending. You can sort by top 25. You can sort by the 30-day increases. You can sort the NFTs. You can view all of them. You can view recently added. It is absolutely ridiculous, guys. And if you want to take a step further and get to know more about these transactions, who's actually making them, the different volume, the distribution, then I'd highly recommend looking at Tappy by TapTools, which is your only way in getting the pro access features on TapTools. Now, Tappy's just came out not only a month ago, and it was only 420 ADA to mint this, so it has gone on an absolute run because a lot of people have been needing it in order to get into the DeFi side of Cardano. But if you're someone that really wants to get in-depth trades, you might want to pick up one of these Tappies. And just so you know, guys, you only get 420 days of this access. I know a lot of you people might not even be here in 420 days, but just realize this is something going away over time unless you actually own 5 of these, which is pretty expensive at this point in time. As far as decentralized exchanges go, guys, you can hit this compare DEX button on TapTools and see where the most liquidity is for a certain pair. Now, 9 out of 10 times it is going to be MinSwap, and this is where you're going to be making the vast majority of your trades. There's also MuesliSwap that's worth bringing up. And I want to bring up MuesliSwap simply because it's a DEX aggregator. So it's going to try to find the best price out of all the different decentralized exchanges on Cardano, and then it's going to submit the order from that specific area. So for example, if I wanted to buy, I know a lot of these are like kind of crappy tokens, but if I wanted to buy something like Hosky, it'll automatically tell me what the best protocol is, and I'll be able to swap instantly on here. So those are going to be the 2 main DEXs that you're going to want to use. As far as actually keeping up with the different decentralized applications and what to invest in, I highly recommend first doing your own research and going on TapTools and clicking the little planet icon to go to the website of that dApp. And on this website, you can read their white paper and learn a little bit more about what they're trying to do. Now, if you're someone that wants a little bit more guidance or a little bit more information or perspective from other people, I'm going to put this list in the description of this video where you can get the opinions of other people in this space. Now, I do want to say that you always have to do your own research, that there aren't that many Cardano content creators in general in this space yet, and that some of these guys might just be shilling their own bag, but this is at least a good resource or a good directory of where to go if you just wanted a little bit more information. And of course, guys, subscribe to this channel too, because I'm going to be covering this stuff a lot more often on top of the traditional Cardano NFT stuff that I mostly cover. Now, on top of that, if you're looking for an actual community to discuss things with, there are a couple different alpha groups out there. One of which is Jellycubes, which is actually my personal Cardano NFT project. And even though we mostly focus on NFTs, we've been covering a lot more DeFi recently, and I've been putting a lot more focus into that. And a lot of our members actually found ADA or LenFi back down at 28 cents, and now it's at 12.7 ADA. We found Indigo Protocol really early. We've been finding a lot of these plays really early. So if you're looking for a place to just chat, get the different perspectives of other people, learn a little bit more about these different coins, definitely check out Jellycubes, because I can't just post all the alpha always on my channel. Sometimes it's also very speed dependent, and that's why it's important to be in some sort of group. There's also a project called TGT, which also go the TGT hands, and I'll just kind of show that here. That also covers some of this stuff. If you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, I know these guys are a little expensive. There's also Cardano Lounge, there's Elevator Pass, and there's a couple others out there, but those are some of the main ones. The last thing that I wanted to include in this video was sort of a pros and cons list from my personal perspective of the Cardano blockchain. And I've been in Cardano since 2018. I sold way too early, unfortunately, but I've also had my own NFT project for nearly a year now. It's going to be a year on the 23rd of this month, which is super exciting. And I've also been covering this content for a long time. Now, some of the pros that I've had from my experience, guys, is that the transactions are relatively cheap. At most, you're going to spend between 2 and 3 ADA per transaction. transaction, and that ends up being less than $1 at the current ADA prices. It's not as cheap as something like Polygon Matic or, Solana or AVAX or Phantom, but it still is relatively cheap, and there is no fee market on Cardano, so there's no way to actually change your gas on the transactions. It's kind of just a queue-based system, so you don't have to worry about sometimes the transaction fees being higher or lower. Another really great thing about Cardano, guys, is the liquid staking, and this means that you can stake your ADA non-custodially, so it doesn't leave your wallet and you can still spend it and earn about 4% a year right now on that ADA. Now, please realize that this has been going down over time, but you can also find different cool ISPOs out there that give you their tokens as well as ADA, and sometimes you can make a lot more than that 4%, and it also allows you to make additional earnings as you operate with these different decentralized exchanges and dApps on Cardano, which is super awesome. Another really great thing for you to note is that all of the assets on here are native assets, so you don't have to worry about these different wallet drains where you sign something and all of your assets go away. Instead, whenever you send a transaction on Cardano, you have to sign off on all of the different NFTs or all of the different fungible tokens that are leaving your wallet, which is super nice. On top of that, you can kind of bundle these different transactions where you can bundle, let's say 100 NFTs all in one transaction and send to one person, and you can do that for like 3 or 4 ADA. So that's something super nice of Cardano. It's also a lot more secure. One of the negatives with Plutus and Haskell is just how difficult it is to code, but by nature it is much more secure, and there has yet to be any hack, as far as I know of, in the Cardano decentralized applications. Now, there was something with Wing Riders, which is a DEX, but that had to do with a third party that had nothing to do with Cardano, but had to do with some of the pricing. So for the most part, it's a lot more secure than these other chains. There's also a lot of upside in Cardano. Once again, the actual market cap compared to TVL is super, super off, and a lot of these different decentralized exchanges that give value to Cardano are finally starting to come out. So I think there's just a lot more upside on this chain. It's a very, very strong community on Cardano. They almost win every single Twitter poll. Everyone knows each other for the most part. And, there's a lot of smartasses on this chain that, are really scientific and will kind of give you shit for no reason. But for the most part, it is a very strong community, and a lot of people really believe in Cardano and the vision. And it's also very decentralized, which is one of the main aspects of Cardano and why it kind of sacrifices in some of these other areas as I get into the cons here. One of the main things is all about governance. It's all about decentralization. It's all about, funding and banking the unbanked. These are kind of the ideologies of Cardano, and you're going to notice that a lot more people on this chain are less money and greed focused and more so focused on the overall impact that Cardano can have on the world. Now, when it comes to the cons, it is a much slower chain and needs a lot more scaling. Whenever there's a lot of congestion on the chain, it can take a while for your transactions to go through. And because there's no fee structure where you can increase your gas, sometimes it takes forever for your transactions to go through when there's a lot of people trading. So that's something to keep in mind if there's a lot of NFTs minting at the time, or, if a lot of people are trading something, it does take a while for those transactions to go through. And in my opinion, is the worst part about Cardano right now, just how slow it can be. Most of the time your transactions are going to be under a minute, guys, but there have been times where it might take 30 minutes, an hour and a half when there's a lot of congestion on the chain. Now, they do need more scaling. They're coming out with things such as Hydra, but to be honest, I'm not really sure at the current state of Hydra how it's actually going to help some of these different things that we need the most help with. So we're going to have to kind of see how it goes. It's also a lot more difficult to develop in this chain, which makes it so there aren't as many projects on this chain. Plutus is difficult to code in. Now, they have come out with other stuff such as Aiken that is allowing you to compile from other languages such as Rust variants, which are a lot more easy to code in. But this is actually something that has been a big issue with a lot of developers I talk with. It's very hard to find these different Plutus developers, and there isn't a lot of tooling infrastructure for Cardano in general. As far as some other stuff, there's also a lack of VC funding, which makes it difficult for some of this stuff to be built on Cardano as well. A lot of people like how there aren't VCs. It makes things more decentralized, but there is a lot of projects that can't build on Cardano simply because they don't have the money and they can't get the funding. There's also very little leadership and foundational support. Now, Charles Hoskinson is the leader of Cardano, and he's a great leader, and he covers a lot of stuff, and he's an amazing, top person. But as far as getting support support on the different things that you're building. They're very decentralized with that. And even a lot of their different foundations that are designed, such as the Cardano Foundation or IOHK, to actually help these different projects, a lot of times that doesn't really happen when compared to something like Polygon, where they have whole teams working to onboard these different companies. So that's something to consider as well, is that there isn't a main base where some sort of Web2 company can come to and really get onboarded, in my personal opinion. And they've pretty much said that they want to lead that up to the community, which I don't know. I think they could really benefit from some more support. Catalyst proposals, which is how you can actually get funding as a project, is a pretty janky system right now. It's supposed to be very decentralized, and it is for the most part, but it's very difficult for a lot of these proposals to get through, and a lot of times it gets bogged down. So as far as funding new projects, that's just something that needs to be improved on in general, and it's kind of a double whammy because of the lack of VC funding. Also, because of that, there aren't too many different decentralized applications and projects on Cardano. You might see a huge list of different things, but to be honest with you guys, there's probably only 30 to 40 that I consider relevant in actually building or actually worth investing in. And then the last thing here is when it comes to the stable coins. We have recently come out with DZ at the start of this year, which is an algorithmic stablecoin that uses Shen and ADA to kind of balance this overall algorithmic stablecoin, but it doesn't have enough deep liquidity. And the only other option we have right now is IUSD, which is a synthetic asset from the Indigo protocol. And once again, it's lacking the amount of liquidity for you to not have a ton of price impact. So those things are pretty big problems in my opinion, because there isn't a very great stablecoin on Cardano to really just hold some of your money in as you're getting in and out of these different trades. Now they are coming out with USDA or AUSD, I can't remember what it is, but that hasn't come out yet, but that is something to pay attention to and might help out the chain in the future. Now I know that was a lot of information, guys, a lot of different pros and cons. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible in my opinion here and show you both sides. Now that being said, as far as my personal outlook, I am very bullish on Cardano's DeFi in general, especially right now. There's still a major outlier when it comes to the market cap in TVL compared to other blockchains of similar stature. Yes, there are some improvements that need to be made with the different stable coins and all of this different stuff, but for the most part, you still have Cardano, which is one of the largest blockchains, only at the 16th largest when it comes to TVL, and there has been no signs or no pullback on the TVL flowing into the chain, and there's just so many different dApps that are finally coming out and so much more attention. And I think a lot of this attention and a lot of this money flow is going to incentivize people or developers or founders or teams from other chains to finally start working and coding on Cardano, because now there's a little bit more opportunity. Now there's a little bit more money incentive. Now there's a little bit more interest. And recently, guys, we've been having over 45 to 50,000 wallets a day transacting with these different Cardano DeFi tokens, which is substantially higher than what it was a couple months ago. So even though it has grown a lot, that 40 to 50,000 is still a relatively low number, especially when you look at the TVL as well. And that's why, in my personal opinion, we're going to see this TVL and this Cardano boom continue. Now, remember to always take your profits on these different plays, guys. Some of these have gone up 1,000% and literally have had zero pullbacks, but it's important to take those profits and realize that we're still early and that we're still in an overall bear market. Now, the last thing that I do want to say here is that the only thing that worries me about Cardano in general right now is how the SEC came out and labeled it as a security. Now, they also did that with Polygon and Solana and a lot of the other major top chains out there, but God forbid that it gets delisted on a lot more US exchanges, such as Robinhood, which it already got delisted from. We could see a lot of money simply not funnel into Cardano anymore coming from the US side of things. So that's one thing to consider as well. But outside of that, I think the overall fundamentals of Cardano is there. I think there's so much more growth to be had. And I think a lot of people still don't know about this chain. There's still going to be these up and down swings. We're still going to go on these 1,000% runs and then probably drop 30, 40% and then go on other push-ups. So always be careful, guys. But I do personally think that we're early based on the data I've shown you. And you can literally look back over a year ago when I was calling this exact thing to happen. So it's pretty insane that we're starting to see it happen now. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to get more information about Cardano DeFi, because like I said, I'm going to be covering that more. And also check out Jelly Cubes if you're interested in joining a community and talking to some other people on this chain, because we have a lot of exciting other stuff to come too. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.